Like I explained earlier on, all I wanted to know was the growth that the agency has witnessed, and of course, I can see I can, from a layman's perspective, see the growth from your little office there to to a large office. Can you share with us how it's been in the last, I don't know how many years now?
An agency,
Agency, yes.
3 years this
3
year.
years. Okay.
Yes. We became an agency in 2021,
Okay.
20th of September 2021, as a result of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu giving assent to the bill establishing the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency law.
Okay. But if you add all of the years?
Oh, all in all, 10 years.
10 years.
We started off in 2014 as a response team.
Okay.
On the 9th of September, on the 11th of September 2014. And I think it's been quite remarkable.
Okay.
Seeing something that started off as, an interagency, interministerial committee, metamorphosed into a full-fledged statutory agency. And to be part of it is a very humbling experience, because obviously I don't think anybody that started with us in 2014 would have seen that we would get to this position. And also see the number of cases that have come to us, the number of lives we've been able to impact positively, the culture of silence that we're gradually breaking, and perpetrators are being held accountable. There's increased faith in the system. People are engaging more. People are more confident in the system because they've seen that cases are being handled as appropriate, or as they think they should be handled, and so they are now even being the ones referring other people to us. So it's been very, as I said, humbling and rewarding, because we are part of the success stories of survivors that report, and it has just been a very great experience.
Okay. Has there also been like an expansion of all those expansion of the scope of your schedule?
Oh,
I know
yes.
that initially it was limited to just, I think, husband and wife having differences and all that.
No. The concept of what we handle, domestic and sexual violence, is the same.
Okay.
Because that's as provided for in statute.
Okay.
The definition, domestic violence law, criminal law provides for sexual violence and other relevant provisions in the child rights law. But in terms of our mandates, what we're supposed to do has greatly expanded. Okay. So we're to collect and preserve evidence, we're to assist in investigation and evidence gathering, we're to provide psychosocial support for clients and their families, we're to establish shelters in the divisions, we're to be in all the local governments, we're to leverage technology, ensuring that people are able to report cases, facilitate provision of grants for high-risk survivors. So it's quite broad, our roles. And I think the idea behind that is to ensure that the agency is able to provide end-to-end services, end-to-end, including prevention and response.
Okay. But how do you achieve all of this with, does it mean you have a huge staff strength, or you also depend on other agencies to?
The answer is both of those factors.
Okay.
So obviously, when we started off, we were 3. Yeah. We started off myself and 3 volunteers, but we've since gone to over 105 now, professionals, lawyers, social workers, doctors, criminologists, psychologists, psychiatrists, ADR officers, quite broad. But then we know that responding to this issue requires multidisciplinary approach, and so we must leverage our strengths. So we work very, very closely with our sister ministries, departments and agencies, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Youth and Social Development, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Women Affairs, Primary Health Care Board, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, the Judiciary, the Police, non-governmental organizations, the media, everybody that provides one service or the other. We make sure that we work with them, because truly there's strength in our partnership and in our numbers.
If you take a look back at when you started, would you say that the reasons for sexual abuse and domestic and sexual abuse has changed, or is it still the same reasons that lead to this? Or has there been an increase?
I would say that the reasons have been quite constant. Patriarchy, gender inequality, impunity, people doing it, getting away with it, saying it's the devil and all of that. Lack of perpetrator accountability. Then there are some push factors as well. The economy is an issue, and then sociocultural factors, religious factors. So these factors have always been there. I think what we're seeing more now is increase in reporting, because there are various outlets that people can take advantage of. Social media is one of them. Somebody can just tweet, "Oh, I've just been abused. I don't know what to do." And then somebody just sees that and says, "Oh, did it happen in Lagos? Tag Lagos DSVA. Is it in Ogun State? Tag." So there's more access to information. And I find that when there's increased access to information, people will take advantage of the resources. It's when people don't know about services that exist, then you get low reporting. So I think increase in reporting, increase in access to information, which is good, because it means that non-governmental organizations and government CSOs are doing the needful in ensuring that we amplify these issues and heighten awareness around these issues, because for so long these issues have been shrouded in secrecy. They've always been there. Domestic violence, rape, incest, child abuse have always been with us in society. What we're seeing now is gradually breaking that culture of silence. Before now, how can you report that your father was defiling you? How would you even tell? But now it's even possible that it's not just the mother you tell. It's possible that the child made that disclosure to the guidance counselor, who has then escalated and made sure that this man has been removed. So there's increased access to information, and there are different channels of reporting that people are taking advantage of. And I think it's a combination of these things that have always been with us, as I said, patriarchy, gender inequality, and also heightened access to information, which is leading to increase in reporting.
Okay. I would like you to also explain or define the difference between domestic and sexual violence. Which one is domestic and sexual violence?
Okay. So domestic violence is basically any form of violence that occurs in the home.
Okay.
But it must be between parties that are in a cohabiting relationship. They must be living together. Okay. So it's not limited to husband and wife. Okay. It can be boyfriend and girlfriend living together, or previously lived together, or they have a child together. Husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, children and parents, parents and children. Because we're getting cases now of parents reporting their children. Children of 35 years old physically assaulting their mom is a form of domestic violence. Of course, we also have the one of madam and the nanny, or oga and the driver. If they are cohabiting, any form of violence, physical, emotional, verbal, sexual, harassment, stalking, forceful rejection from the home that occurs in that cohabiting relationship is referred to as domestic violence, as provided for in Section 18 of the Domestic Violence Law of Lagos State. Now, sexual violence is basically any activity that is done without the consent of the other party. So sexual violence is quite broad. Under sexual violence, it has different arms. You have defilement, having sexual intercourse with a person below the age of 18, a child. You have the offense of rape. A man has unlawful sexual intercourse with a woman or girl without her consent, guilty of a felony liable to imprisonment for life. You have the offense of sexual assault by penetration. That one is not limited to the male genitalia and to the female genitalia. It's in inserting any part of your body or any other thing into any other part of the person's body. So you hear things like, "Oh, the teacher inserted a spoon in the 2-year-old vagina," or a man sodomized a boy. So that's sexual assault by penetration. That is also life imprisonment. Then you have attempt. attempt to commit rape, the fact that the person attempted to do it is an offense, 14 years imprisonment. You have sexual assault, touching a person without their consent in areas that are private, 3 years. You have sexual harassment, request for sexual favors, and when you turn them down, the person now proceeds to make either the learning or the work environment hostile. That's 3 years. Then you have causing a person to engage in sexual activity without their consent. That's 5 years. Then you have child pornography, which the DSVA law introduced. That can range between 7 to 14 years. You have when institutions try to conceal a sexual offense case, can attract up to 3 years. So domestic violence has its own, and there are different forms. Sexual violence, simply put, any sexual activity that occurs without the consent of the other party.
So why, with all these laws, how come the cases have been on the increase? Is it that people don't know, people are not aware of the severity of the punishment and all that?
Yes, that's an issue. I remember when we started in 2014, we profiled sex convicts. We wanted to know the mindset of a rapist or a sex convict, and we're able to profile 140 of them in the correctional facility, Kirikiri. And at least 60.5% of them told us that they thought, if they defile a child, it's just like maybe 2 years or there's option of fine. So even them that were committing the offense, they did not realize the punishment that is attached to that offense. And then even when we go and sample, we ask for public opinion. I mean, there's a difference now because there's heightened awareness. Lagos State government has declared zero tolerance, so there's more information that is out there. But back in the days when we engaged with community, they told us, 2 years, 3 years, it's not that serious. Did she get pregnant as a result of it? You hear some people say, oh, this thing that the man did, she will still do it in the future, so it's not too bad. So some people don't know that there are certain things that if you do, the person can go to jail for life, like the sexual violence and some of the offenses I've spoken about. So that's an issue. Then it goes back to awareness creation, awareness raising. We have seen a direct relationship between heightened awareness and increase in reporting. When people are more aware, when people know, and when you don't decentralize services, when you decentralize services and bring services closer to the people start to, try to access those services. So something like the toll-free line that we have, that is accessible 24/7. People are able to call it's not until you meet somebody that you are able to access help. People can call in any time of the day and they can be rescued depending on the situation that they find themselves in. So with that, we're not just getting cases from working clients, we're getting cases via the toll-free line, we're getting cases via social media. What Lagos has also been able to do is mainstream these issues into the different sectors. So we're getting cases from the hospitals, we're getting cases from the schools. So before now, we were not getting those cases because we were not directly in contact with them. But since we've been able to mainstream, and we are mainstreaming, cases that will not ordinarily come to us are coming to us now because we have mainstreamed SGBV response into the different sectors.
And how have you found handling all those cases and all that? I mean, you
as an individual.
As yes.
Well, fortunately for me, I don't handle cases.
Okay.
I'm not involved in handling of cases day to day because there's a whole department for that, case management, and we have a solid head of case management and her team. But I think over the years, we've just learned to become clinical. When we started off, we were very attached to cases, and you realize that you go home and you don't, the line is blurred from private life and work life. And some of us, when we started, we were very paranoid, about these issues. So over time, we just learned to be clinical. Yes, provide the services, provide the support that is required, but be clinical in the way we handle them, so that we don't carry other people's burdens home.
At the initial stage, I think what we heard from out there was that there was an increase in the case of husbands maltreating their wives and all that. But at some point, it was like the other way around. I mean, where wives also maltreating husbands. I don't know whether that's
I think
is
I know the data you are referring to. That was 2 years ago when
yes,
we released the data.
yes.
But so last, yes, no, not 2 years. Last year we provided services to I believe 333 men. But if you look at it in total, that was like 10% of the total number of cases. But we've seen slight increase between when we started and last year in terms of reporting from men.
Okay.
Yes, but I think it's because it was such a high number that people were like, "Oh, is it that the women have now become the aggressors?" But if you look at it holistically, it was about 10% of the cases, and women were still 90%.
Okay. With the problems facing many marriages today, wouldn't that also lead to domestic violence and all of that?
What kind of problems?
I mean, more often than not, you find that when people complain, oh, complain of beating,
Yes.
complain of maltreatment and all that. So I'm looking at how do you reduce such a number if there's still cases of
Okay,
marriages.
so prevention.
Yeah.
So we believe that we can prevent or we can reduce the likelihood of it happening. And that's where, well, what has led to the different programs that we have. So, for instance, we have a program with the registrars of marriage. We have a premarital counseling. So we've infused or we're infusing GBV prevention into their compulsory counseling that they administer to intending couples. We're also working with religious institutions because for most religious institutions, before you're joined in holy matrimony, you have to undertake one counseling or the other. So we've told them, we are telling the religious institutions that it's not enough to say the Bible says, the Quran says. You have to give them practical issues of how to resolve conflicts, because there will be conflicts. The difference between my party A and party B is how do you resolve those conflicts, right? So we're working with the religious institutions for that. Then we're also engaging with the adolescents, and we're engaging with young people, adolescents, secondary school students. From that, even before, yes, we have one for children, then we have for adolescents. Through our Kings and Queens Club initiative, we're engaging them about, for the boys, promoting positive masculinity. The fact that you are a boy, you shouldn't see the girl as inferior to you. There's partnership, there's equity, equality, right? You have a role as a boy, and she has a role. Your job is to complement each other, not to bully or to vilify the other person. So we have that for the adolescents, the young adolescents. Then for the children, we have our STRAC program, Safeguarding the Rights of a Child program. We talk to them about in age appropriate language. You know, the boys, the girls, aside from sexual abuse, we also talk to them on how to engage with the opposite gender. Then for the young people, we use social media, we go to the universities, we engage them on red flags, you're dating, your boyfriend is already slapping you, or he's telling you things like, once we get married, you're going to stop working, or he's saying things maybe when you're upset that, I will kill you, I will kill myself. These are red flags. These are flags. You can't say you hope he will change or she will change. It's important for you to appreciate that these are red flags, and you need to be informed to take a decision, not from an emotional point of view, but be informed so that even if you decide to go into the relationship, you won't say, "Oh, had I known," because you did know, and at that point in time, reasons best known to you, you chose to go in like that. So we believe that if we catch them young, engage children, engage adolescents, engage the young people, engage the religious clubs. Oh, and another stakeholder we're engaging, traditional rulers, because obviously they are the custodians of culture. And you hear things like, "Oh, where we come from, we don't do this. Oh, it's not allowed. If you go, you have gone. No more room in your..." Culture is not static. It's changing. It's evolving due to different reasons. So we're engaging the religious the traditional rulers as well. So we believe when we do this in a consistent manner, then we will start to change mindset, behavioral patterns, which will now hopefully lead to a decrease of these offenses.
What would you call the achievement of the agency if you were to
One
assess?
achievement.
No. All the
Okay.
achievements you had.
I think personally, I would
Okay.
say the fact that this is an agency that there's that the public has faith in,
Okay.
and this shines through when we're even on social media. You hear things like, is it in Lagos State? Oh, how I wish this was in Lagos State. And not because we're perfect, but because over the years, we have been able to build that faith and that trust, in the people. And it's something that we're very proud of. Of course, again, the fact that we're able to continuously break the culture of silence, the fact that we're able to, provide support to survivors and be part of their journey. I think another success is the fact that we've done something that didn't exist before, and we are still the only state that has a statutory agency devoted to preventing and responding to sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria. And I think we must commend the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for being truly a visionary leader and setting the pace for other states to follow. So the fact that there's faith in the system, the fact that we're gradually breaking the culture of silence, the fact that we're holding perpetrators accountable, the fact that we're mainstreaming these issues into the different sectors, and also the fact that, this is what we talk about sustainability, ensuring that there is legislative enactment to back whatever it is that we're doing.
Okay. So what's the message that you like to pass on to Lagosians who live in Lagos?
Yes. So I think my message would be twofold. If you're a survivor or you know somebody that is experiencing violence and you reside in Lagos, we want to encourage you to note that, number one, it's not your fault. You are not to blame. One of the ways you can get your power back is by breaking the culture of silence and reporting. There are several services that the Lagos State government has put in place for survivors, but you won't be able to access those services if you don't speak up. So it's to encourage you, to let you know that you are not alone. We believe you. We are ready to assist you. We encourage you to please reach out to us on our toll-free line, 08000 333 08000 333. And to any perpetrator out there who will be watching, realize that Lagos State has declared zero tolerance for all forms of sexual and gender-based violence. And if you do the crime, you will do the time.
For all forms of
Sexual and gender-based violence.
Okay. And gender-based
Violence.
Okay.